MomVision is about helping you savor and not just survive motherhood. I'm going to have to put these down here. It's about, as Cammie said, helping you know, love, and accept yourself right here, right now, because you're awesome. And also knowing that you can choose to change in really little tiny steps. I don't think there's any of us who feel they are all there in the various parts of our lives that we're going to talk about today. So there's always room for growth. I mean, you know, forever, right? Till the day we die, in one way, shape, or form. And I think one of the things that we have to understand, which hopefully you all do, is that you are women of tremendous influence as you raise your families. You are the barometer of your family. You set the tone for your family. You are a leader in your family, and you have tremendous impact. Now, I'd love to know, how does that make you feel? Does that make you feel, you can raise your hand, does that make you feel privileged? Raise your hand if you feel privileged to have that responsibility. Does it make you feel burdened? Raise your hand if you feel burdened. Right? Okay, maybe both. Sometimes both. And that is exactly what, I can't do this. I just feel too, I'm sorry.
Do you want me to move the podium?
I just go like this. I'll just lean on this. Okay. But thank you. Thank you all for your help. Put this back up. Yeah, I just feel too low there. Okay. So again, it's both a privilege and a responsibility. And it's also something that you go through with ebbs and flows, right? Sometimes you feel you're rocking it. You're doing great. Other times you feel like you're blowing it and you might ruin your kids. Now, right? Anybody ever feel like they're going to ruin their kids? Now, I could end this talk right now, and I could tell you, as the song goes, every little thing's going to be okay. And I mean it. I actually mean it. Standing here at 63 years old, having all kinds of wonderful things and terrible things happen in life, because that is life, that everything is going to be okay. Romans 8:28 says, and we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him and have been called according to his purpose. Well, that's all of you, all of us. We have been called to this awesome purpose that God has given us. And I have truly seen through all these years, the happy, the hard, the most difficult have worked out okay. I've made it through. I'm still here. Not always the way I wanted to, but it does work out. God uses it for good, and he is true to his word. Of course, there's a really long road between where you are today and where I am today, and a lot of stuff in between, and that's the stuff that we're going to talk about today. We're really going to talk about how do you have the happiest, healthiest life you can right here, right now, as a woman, a mom, a wife, an entrepreneur, a side gigger, a full-time employee, every single role that you have. There are so many things you're juggling. How do we live in the midst of this very chaotic life with joy and balance and evenness? Well, my question for you, and I can't remember whether I've asked it of you before, but does anybody know, how do you eat an elephant?
One small bite at a time.
What?
One small bite at a time.
One small bite at a time. And that is how we make changes. The same way we would eat an elephant, which we wouldn't do, but that's okay. We make these changes one bite, one small step at a time. And no matter how small that step is, it is still progress. So we need to take heart when the steps feel small and long, right? It's true. That's not even I keep doing, okay? It's true that we can savor and not just survive motherhood. And what I mean by that is, do you ever just kind of put your head down and just make it through the day, from one end of the day to the other? Anybody ever do that? Yeah. You just get mired in the busyness of raising children. But that isn't the way we want to live, is it? We want to just survive? No. We want to savor. We want to enjoy every moment as much as possible as we can. We want to be intentional about that, and that is what it takes. Now, total transformation can happen in one fell swoop. God is capable of, like, literally, I don't know if any of you have experienced it, literally one day you're this and the next day you're that, and you're no longer struggling with that particularly big thing that has been in your way. But in most cases, transformation starts very much so, step by step and over time. We often see that end result, right? So I was on a journey several years ago, almost 6 years ago now. And when I got to the doctor, I knew the news wasn't going to be good. I was heavier than I'd ever been. My blood pressure was high. My cholesterol was borderline. I had never had any of these issues. And so my awareness was very high. I was getting ready to go on meds that I did not want to go on. And I read an article. And that article talked about this thing called Max Fit. And so I read the article, I heard about Max Fit, I investigated, is Max Fit in this area? Happened to be a mile away from my house, good and bad news. Then I decided to call Max Fit, which I'm not a phone caller, I hate phone calls, so that was intimidating. Thank God she didn't pick up the phone, but then she called me right back. I had to decide to call her back. Then I had to show up at the gym. Then I had to go to the gym, get up every morning, get out the door, go to the gym, etc., 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 right? So I took one step at a time, after the next, and after the next, and after the next. And then, because I had already had hip problems going into the gym, they had now gotten, I could do the workout. It was kind of like this crazy 45-minute miracle where I'd like work out very intensely, like a boot camp-y workout. And then I crawled to my car because my hip hurt so much. So I knew I had to get physical therapy. I go to physical therapy, and at the physical therapy place, it helps. But they say to me, listen, we have an acupuncturist on staff, and your insurance covers it. So do you want to have needles stuck in your body today? And I was like, I'll do anything. So I take another step forward. And in that part of the journey with my friend Mike, my acupuncturist Mike, he didn't just do needles. It's kind of, I have to get moved at some point during my talk, or it's not an Elise talk. But this guy changed my life. As I was going through this journey of getting fit and losing weight, something that I have struggled with in the past, all my life, other things were being uncovered, other issues of mine, other psychological issues, senses of never good enough, unworthiness, comparison, envy, and like whatever was happening in this little dark room with the needles, it was just all coming out. It was like the perfect storm, and I truly believe the Lord gifted me with Mike. And so I went through this huge transformation, this life-changing transformation. But the reality is that started 6 years ago. Now, I've been a victim of the pandemic, as some people call it, and I've done a little backsliding, and as I've said, I've got some sciatica thing happening. It's okay, because I know, okay, I just need a reboot. It's time to make some changes again. Mike sadly has moved. I have to go see him in Baskin Ridge, but I will do that. And the good news is, I have not returned to the place where I started. I do not have the shame, the resentment towards myself, the bitterness, the standing in the mirror and going, I can't believe you let this happen again. That is how I lived my life. That transformation is gold, right?
Yeah.
So I know what I have to do to get happier and healthier because I'm not feeling great, but I'm reminded that, again, it's a step-by-step process, and it's sometimes a 2-step forward, 1-step back process. And this is true for you guys. It's true for you in whatever area you want to change. What MomVision is about is what I came to see as a mom of experience, or a mom of 2 and 3-year-olds, as I said to you. Just joking. To throw off a little bit about who I actually am. But anyway, we have pictures of motherhood, do we not? Before we start the motherhood journey. These pictures come from all kinds of places. They come from our homes. Now, sometimes in our homes we're going, oh, I want to do it just like that. And sometimes we're saying, I will never do it like that. We're watching TV shows, glorified versions of everything. We're watching movies, fairy tales, romance stories. I mean, we love them, right? I mean, Hallmark is a thing. Yes, it only tells you 3 stories over the course of several years, but those 3 stories come out in all kinds of different ways, and people love them. Why? Because we like romanticized versions of our very real lives. So I've talked to you guys a little bit about what I pictured. And again, I came from a home with 5 kids. We had a lot of good times, but we had a lot of chaos too. My parents' marriage was falling apart as long as I could remember until it finally dissolved when I was 17 years old. And yet, I had these visions of my marriage that were like perfect. I had visions of mothering, this quilting. I've never picked up a quilt in my life. This cup of tea. I don't like tea. I drink coffee. I'm not kidding. Like sitting in a chair, curls of tea in the room, children playing at my feet, quilting, candles flickering, cookies baking in the oven. That's one of the things I actually do. I bake chocolate chip cookies on a regular basis, which may not be serving me, but anyway. Meanwhile, of course, I had a very normal life. I had children who had sibling rivalry. I started with a baby who had failure to thrive because neither one of us knew how to nurse. I thought I was going to be a rock star at this thing. Nope. I didn't picture my stepdaughter, who at the time was 12 years old, moving in overnight when I was a month away from having my second baby. No, that was not part of my romanticized picture. As I said, my kids squabbling, my inability to control my screaming. Now, my mother was a screamer, and so that was one of the things I said. I would never be a screamer. Turns out I was a screamer. Plus all the issues that I've mentioned before. So here I am with this perfected vision and then the reality vision, and I'm wondering what's wrong with me. What have I done that has changed this picture so dramatically? And what I realized was I'm comparing my reality with this fake life, this made-up vision of what I thought it was going to be. Now, what do you think happens when we have this glorified picture and then we have reality? What's the result of that? Anybody? What's the result of when we have, oh my gosh, and here's reality here?
You feel crushed.
You feel crushed, disappointed in you, maybe in your kids, your husband, spills out onto other people. Comparison. Oh, comparison is such a big one now because we have the internet, which can be great, or it can crush us further by looking at other people and going, they have it going on and I do not. Look at their marriage, look at their vacation, look at their perfect family picture. Yeah, it's all smoke and mirrors. It's not horrible behind the smoke and mirrors, but it's real, and it's okay. We have shame and guilt about fake things. So MomVision is really about seeing your real life and crafting a new vision based on that. So looking at your real life, appreciating your real life, looking at the good things. We're going to do some of that today. But also recognizing, okay, there are some things that I actually do want to change. But see, we also have this sort of gigantic, oh, I want everything to change. Oh, I wish things were better. I wish I was a better mom. I wish my kid wasn't so difficult to speak to, whatever. But we have to get really clear about what those changes are, or we will never make them. That line, without a vision, the mamas will perish, scripture, without a vision, without a vision, the people perish. That's true. We have to, because then we're scrambling towards something we can't articulate. We don't even know what it is. So can we get there? No. If you aim for nothing, you'll hit it every time. That's no fun. So again, there's some areas that you probably have that you'd like to tweak, change, improve, adjust. And I am inviting you today through both what I'm talking to you about, we've got a little worksheet there, and what we're going to do, our craft. Where's Jen? Our craft that Jen came up with. She did a great job of I do big vision boards. She did a great job of showing you how. She's going to show you how to do a smaller one, which is going to be awesome. Because again, see, that allows you to. We're going to articulate where we are, that we appreciate, and then we're going to think about specifics that we want to change, and we're going to represent them so that we can see them, so that we're not going, yeah, I just wish I was a better mom. what does that mean? Okay, maybe something very specific, and by the way, very small. Very small. I'm encouraging you to take tiny, tiny, tiny tips. Steps is the word I'm looking for. Okay, so I want you to know, and I hope you receive this, that again, you're good and acceptable and lovable right here, right now. You do not have to change a thing. You have a good God who made you and loves you, and lots of other people too, by the way, including your children, whether you get it right or wrong. So again, I said to you, you've got this worksheet. Now, I like to call a worksheet a play sheet, because I don't like to work too hard. And also because I don't want you to take this too seriously. That's another little savor, not survive motherhood tip. We take it so very seriously. And it is serious, but it's also something to have a lot of fun with and to enjoy and to throw caution to the wind with sometimes, because there's a lot we're not going to get right. And as I said earlier, every little thing's going to be okay anyway. And we want to try in the meantime. So here are some questions that I'm going to give you. We're going to give you a couple of seconds to think about it and put down an answer, and that's going to help guide you when you do your little vision board. Okay, now I'm going to sit. The first question is, who are you essentially always been known for? Something that you were, really a trait that you were born with, that you embrace, that you like when you hear it from other people, or you like it about yourself. Are you compassionate? Are you naturally just a compassionate person? Don't minimize your beautiful gifts. Are you funny? Are you a listener? Are you colorful? Write down an adjective or two that describes who you essentially are. If you come up with 10, that's good. If you come up with 2, that's fine too. And you can always go back to this. I'm going to give you another question. I want you to fill in something you do well. And you can choose it in any one of the roles that you play, because again, we're getting specific here. So you may do something well as a mom that you don't do particularly well as a friend, but I want you to include roles that you enjoy and do well, and what you do well in those roles, or even roles that you don't necessarily enjoy, but you enjoy. You have a good fit for that role. Something you appreciate in the roles that you play, and I want you to write down a few of those. And you'll see on the sheet I said you can choose one thing for each category if you like. The category of woman, you as self, wife, mom, and I've put friend and family member together with community member, and by that I mean a larger community like a book group, a Bible study, etc. How you show up in those groups and what you appreciate that about yourself. I'm going to invite you not to overthink it too. Like, let it. If something strikes you, put it down. It's it's okay if it's not perfected. Okay, now question number 3 is, what is something you're cultivating that you'd like to continue cultivating? So here again, this is particularly something you may not have perfected, but you've started the journey. I'm going to give you an example that I've experienced. Some of what I've talked to you about today, some of my transformation, has been freedom. I've been freed from things that really held me down. That process is not over. And so I continue to cultivate freedom. For me personally, I invite the Lord in to who I am. I know He says it is for freedom that we have been set free. I know He has total freedom for me. So I am intentionally looking for those ways that He's opening up and freeing me from. So that's something you're cultivating, you're aware of it, or even if you're not aware of it, please become aware of it now. Think about the last year maybe. What was happening in this last year that you were kind of like, you could say, I'm starting to grow in that area that I want to grow in, and I want to continue that. And I want to also include that under this category can be more esoteric things like peace and joy, but it can also be organizing your home or more sleep, that, taking better care of yourself, being healthier, those cultivating any one of those things. Okay, so again, you'll have a little time to tweak this because it can apply to your board, your vision board that you're going to be making. But I want to just restate, this is to me, not when people do vision boards, a lot of them are all forward thinking. I am not, because I really, especially for moms, want you to affirm and celebrate where you are and who you are. We can so often keep our eyes on what we want to be or what we want to do or what we want to change. I want to affirm you today. And then we can move on to the second part where we can talk about the things that we would like to change. Now, as I said, your vision board can actually reflect either both, should reflect both. Put some things on there that reflect both the things that we've talked about today that you are happy about, that you celebrate, that you affirm, and then we're going to talk about some forward things. The more idealized version of different parts of your life, as pretty much I'm sticking to you as a human woman. You actually are a person apart from other people. Might forget that sometimes. A wife, a mom, and as, again, a friend or family community member. So I want you to really think about very doable, simple steps. Again, the big picture is great, but when you think about action, and you can put those big picture items on your board, because boards can be very aspirational, what we aspire to, and inspirational. But again, when you think in terms of action, I want you to think about very small things, and I'm going to talk to you about that in a second. So, already covered the 4 parts. We are going to do a quick visualization. I have you close your eyes, and just go there with me, if you will. Okay, so I want you to get comfortable in your chairs, feet on the floor. Nice position for breathing, and we're going to breathe. How about that? Anybody breathe lately? Close your eyes, and we're going to take 3 deep breaths in. 1, 2, 3, hold. Release that breath to the count of 3. A second breath, sorry. In. And out. And a third breath in through the nose. Fill up belly, hold your breath, and release it. And now I want you to just allow yourself to have a picture in your mind, a picture of you and what you'd like to do. It could be dancing, it could be reading, relaxing, anything that you enjoy doing. Your happy place, both what you're doing and where you are. Also add into that a place of joy. Just give yourself a moment to be there. Note what you're doing, how you're feeling. now, I'd like you to take a moment to think about your marriage, your spouse, your partner. And if you don't have those, that, him, her, whatever, I'd like you to think about a community member, a person in your close sphere, and what you'd like for that relationship. What does it look like? What does your marriage look like? What are you hoping for? And how does that look, feel? How do you experience the marriage that you love? And now I'd like you to shift your focus to you as a mom with your kids. What is that scene? What is that ideal scene? What would you like it to look like? Go there. Experience the feelings, the sounds. What are the kids doing? And how are you engaging with them? And finally, I want you to picture yourself in community. Maybe in a relationship that's been healed. Maybe you've got a breached relationship with a member of your family or friend. Or maybe you just need to have a cup of coffee with somebody. Imagine that space, going to a little coffee shop. Or maybe you really need to keep getting to this MCC Bible study, but you haven't gotten there. Imagine yourself in that place, enjoying the feelings, why you want that, what does it look like, what does it feel like? Okay, now just take another deep breath, and you can open your eyes. I hope that was relaxing and enjoyable. And again, it's what we have all these pictures in our minds already, just in case we think our mind is empty. And so we want to do some controlling of those. Actually, that's what that Bible study is going to be about. This Jenny Allen's. It sounds like amazingly tied into it to me.
Yeah.
Where do we go with our minds? And so we want to control some of these pictures. And as we do, as we articulate things very specifically, we really do move towards them. Again, sounds a little woo-woo, but it is not. And there is a lot in the Bible about our minds and worth paying attention to. So we can have a lot of negativity going on. We can be saying a lot of negative things, and so we have to really come up with a counterpart to that. So I want you to just jot down a few things that you noted under those categories. You in your ideal marriage, you as a mom, and you in your community. Briefly, a couple of words that describe what you were experiencing, the best of those feelings and scenes. Okay, so you'll have a little time again during craft time if you want to fill in some of these blanks that you haven't gotten to. But I do want to give you enough time to do those little boards. And now I want you to take a moment, and I'm not going to give you that time, you can take this on your own, to make a SMART goal. Anybody know what a SMART goal is? Lisa, do you know what a SMART goal is?
Yes, but let me see. It's something that this was all the time we had told our kids, do a SMART goal.
Yeah.
SMART goal. So it's
Specific.
specific. There's one with like, oh my gosh,
It's okay. Specific. I get you. I totally put you on the spot, and I apologize. Okay, so SMART
We
goals.
used to have our kids do it all the time.
Yeah.
And now that I'm not teaching, I'm like, I see it, I know.
What,
I just can't
what is
remember
that
it.
thing? Okay, specific,
Yeah.
measurable,
Okay.
attainable, reasonable or rational, and timely. Okay, and so, I want you to look at those areas that we've talked about today, those ideal spots, and I want you to find one SMART goal to take action on. Just one SMART goal. Now, I'm going to give you a really simple idea of what I mean. I don't know if any of you maybe get like, do you get complacent about greeting your husband when he walks in the door? For example, I have done that, where he walks in the door, I'm like, hi. Without children around my feet. And so my goal might be, I will intentionally greet my husband every time he enters our home with enthusiasm. So that's really specific, right? It's specific, it's measurable, I either do it or I don't. It's attainable, very doable. It's reasonable and rational, and it's timely every time he walks in the door. So that's the kind of small adjustments we can make time after time to get closer to that thing that we really want, that we're holding up as our goal, our dream, our vision, what needs to change. We may have something really obvious that's like, again, I like to use the example of screaming. I'm not sure why, but maybe it's because I screamed a lot and I really regret it. So how do you change that one small step at a time? Not by, I will never scream again, because that's not going to happen. But maybe I will, the next time so-and-so, maybe I have a trigger person, or does this specific thing, I will count to 5. Really, really simple baby steps. Because that way we'll achieve them. And when we achieve that little bit of a goal, that little step, we can then move on to the next one. We cannot change everything at once. That is why resolutions and all New Year's stuff tends to be done by the time we reach the end of January. I think 80% of people's goals are over. Okay, so again, the idea behind having your own mom vision is so that you appreciate and celebrate where you are, and you can take small, intentional steps toward the life of your dreams. It's an answer to poet Mary Oliver's question, tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? So that's it. We've got one life, and how are we going to live it? Okay, that's it. You get to make your vision boards. Jen's going to come up and give you a moment on that. Is that right?
10 minutes.
10 minutes.
10 minutes.
Oh,
We're gonna do discussion.
okay.
Do you want us to do discussion?
Oh, of course.